So Fox News is so desperate to get people riled up over these so-called border crisis, their made-up crisis, that they've actually created a doctored video that they're showing people, and I'm calling BS. Let's talk about it in today's video. Hi, I'm Mike Greiner. I'm a lifelong Democratic activist who's concerned about the direction our country is taking. I'm also a lawyer and an academic, and I'm here to help you stand up to the BS of the MAGA crowd. So I've already done videos about the so-called border crisis that Fox News is trying to gin people up and get them outraged about. And frankly, I'm getting a little tired of talking about it. But the problem is, if you watch Fox News, it's all you hear about. You're convinced that there's some huge border crisis with people just crossing the border willy-nilly, left and right. Well, here Fox News is presenting a exclusive video that you can see of immigrants illegally crossing the border. And if you believe that this is genuine, well, you're a much more credulous person than me. Let's check it out.
Let's check this out. This exclusive video now from our team on the ground at the border. Dozens of illegal immigrants dressed in camouflage now, using ropes to scale Arizona's partial border wall. And they are joining the other 500,000 gotaways. No, actually the number's more like 800,000 now. That the Department of Homeland...
Okay, number one, this is them getting over the border wall. I mean, weren't we so committed to building it? Wasn't that going to stop illegal immigration? Number one. Number two, this whole thing of her throwing out the 800,000 gotaways, 500,000. I actually tried to look that up. That's BS. There is no basis for that. These are some estimates that are basically pulled out of the butt of immigration opponents. They're estimates based upon the fact that, frankly, illegal immigrants are getting across the border. That's just kind of the nature of how it goes. It's going to be a constant cat and mouse game. But as it turns out, the immigrants were coming across the border at the same pace back during the Trump administration. That's just kind of comes with the territory. The difference is, during the Biden administration, they've actually been arresting more people. So their claim about this whole border crisis and out of control is based upon the fact that the Biden administration has been arresting more people at the border. So are they not enforcing it? Well, let's keep watching.
Homeland Security says already evaded capture this year. They are dressed to evade. They didn't even have to do that, Steve. They were getting away anyway.
Yes.
This is tough.
Do you really believe this video? I'm not convinced. Let's keep watching.
They look like the military, don't they? If you didn't know any better, had you not seen the Uber guy from the cartel drop people off on the Mexican side where they take, they go over, next thing you know, if they're going to, surrender themselves, they wouldn't be wearing clothes that are invisible to see. I was watching you in your program about a half an hour ago talking about.
Do you really believe they're dressed like that? If they're coming over the border, that's not the pictures I've seen of people coming across the border. Let's keep watching.
How that organization has estimated that so far what the number of people that Joe Biden has let in has cost American taxpayers $20 billion.
Wow.
When you figure out the number per migrant, and this is the jaw-dropping part, it comes down to nearly $10,000 per person. So you look at that person, that's going to cost the federal government $10,000 for 1 year. You see those shots from Bill.
Okay, I'm calling BS here because the research on this point is unequivocal. Immigrants contribute more to the economy than they take out of it. So letting immigrants in is actually a positive for the American economy. And this idea that somehow keeping them out is going to stop it and is going to save us money is BS. It actually hurts our economy to not allow immigrants in. Let's keep watching, though.
Malugin with 100 people, 100 times 10,000 is $1 million.
I mean, think about it. They get jobs, they work in much higher percentages than people who are born in the United States, and they pay taxes on that. So they're contributing back to the economy. How is that costing us money? It doesn't even make sense. Let's keep watching.
How many millions of dollars are just coming across the border, and Joe Biden's okay with that?
Well,
Joe Biden's not okay with that. We've actually increased the number of arrests at the border compared to how it was during the Trump administration. Again, this just kills me. They're attacking Joe Biden because he's having more arrests at the border. And then they say that he's not doing his job because he's not enforcing the border. But yet the basis for them saying that is that there are more arrests at the border. It's like double talk. Well, let's keep watching.
So what we did, Laura, last hour was compare those numbers of what we're spending to completing the wall. And look, maybe that wouldn't have been such a big deal if the press secretary for the White
Okay, completing the wall. They just showed a video of people climbing over the wall like it's nothing, and yet completing the wall is actually going to accomplish something? This just shows how absurd Fox News is. I just can't believe that somebody's watching this and not saying, well, hey, they just climbed over the wall. Why should we build the wall? And then here they're saying we should build the wall. Obviously, the wall would do nothing. Let's keep watching.
House hadn't said, well, you didn't get that done in 4 years. I mean, so are they acquiescing that it works?
They didn't get that done in 4 years. That's the point, is that Trump was completely ineffective. He likes to go around saying, I accomplished more than any other president in 4 years. Well, one of his big promises, as I recall, was that he was going to build the wall and Mexico is going to pay for it. Well, guess what? He didn't build the wall, and the parts that he built, Mexico didn't pay for. Let's keep watching. And actually, not to go off on a tangent here, but as it turns out, when they tried to solicit private donations, check out Steve Bannon and his efforts, it turns out that they were just kind of using it as another method to fleece their people and take money illegally from them. But let's keep watching.
Oh, well, isn't that the question, right? I mean, it's so interesting to see all of this happen. And for anyone to try and suggest that Donald Trump did not have the most secure border in recent history is outrageous. We all know that.
No, I'm going to say that, actually. I'm going to attach down below, as I always do, support for the arguments I'm making. But a couple things that are clear is, for example, this is according to a study from the Cato Institute, which is a conservative organization, a conservative think tank in Washington. And they're saying, and I quote, President Trump reduced legal immigration. He did not reduce illegal immigration. So basically what he did is he stopped issuing visas for people to come in. That didn't stop the illegal immigration, which is what they're all upset about. All he did is stopped people from legally coming here into the United States, which is a problem because we need these immigrants. These immigrants help our country, as I've said. Secondly, and again, I will post a link to this down below, when Donald Trump came into office, there were 542,411 cases pending in the immigration court. When he left office, there were almost 1.3 million. That's an increase of almost 3 times the number of open cases just left open. So basically what they did is that they left a huge backlog that the Biden administration has had to be dealing with. Let's keep watching.
We saw migrants crossing the southern border drop by 87% under the Trump administration.
That is not true. Again, according to the conservative Cato Institute, legal immigration dropped because basically he wouldn't issue visas. However, illegal immigration actually went up under Trump. Let's keep watching.
Around 400 miles of border wall that was built by my father-in-law. He had to fight tooth and nail for that. Don't forget, the Democrats did everything they could to stop him from funding that border wall. But right, Harris.
Yeah, because as we've seen from their fake video, a border wall doesn't work. It's basically a big waste of money. And Donald Trump, didn't he promise that that was going to be paid for by the Mexicans? Oh, well, let's keep watching.
To your point, it was working. We saw that he tackled human trafficking. That was at an all-time low coming over our southern border. Look at the
There is no basis for that claim. Let's keep watching.
drugs now that free flow over the southern border. We didn't have these problems under the Trump administration.
Wait a minute. Did she just say that we didn't have a problem with fentanyl and with drugs coming into the United States during the Trump administration? I mean, that is laughable on its face. Is fentanyl a big problem? Yes, it is. Was fentanyl a big problem during the Trump administration? Also, yes. In fact, I can tell you that my son-in-law died as a result of an overdose of fentanyl during the Trump administration. So don't tell me it wasn't a problem during the Trump administration. Let's keep watching.
So for them to try and suggest in any way that Donald Trump did not have a handle on this is totally crazy.
Yeah, I'm suggesting that. And I love how they attack Kamala Harris for basically pointing out that the border is secure, which it is, because this is a BS argument, a created crisis by Fox News of a problem that Donald Trump created and left for Joe Biden to clean up. And now they're attacking him because he's got a mess to clean up that President Trump left us. Well, one other thing that's mentioned later on in this video, and I'm not going to play the whole thing, it just goes on like that, is they talk about Title 42 and how President Biden is trying to get rid of that. Well, I did another video on that, and you might want to check it out over here, because as it turns out, it's the right call and something I support. I'll see you then. In the meantime, let's hope for continued progress. Thank you.